So I've gotten the question, what is better, inking traditionally with a brush pen or a brush, or inking digitally? So the difference between inking with a brush pen, inking traditionally, or inking digitally is that if you're inking digitally, then it's a lot easier to fix your mistakes and to make the line art more perfect or more clean looking. Whereas when you're using a traditional ink brush or a paintbrush dipped in ink, your lines are going to be a lot less smooth. You're going to get ink smears here and there that you're going to have to clear up with some white ink or leave them, depending on your style. Me personally, I like the rough look of inking with a brush pen. Sometimes when I'm inking digitally, I'll feel like I have to get it perfect, and then I'll keep erasing, keep switching up my layers, and until it looks way too perfect and less hand-drawn. I like the hand-drawn look of artwork. I don't necessarily like the mechanical look that sometimes happens when you're using digital ink. That being said, probably about 90% of what I do in my professional work is done digitally. And that is simply because digital is faster. Like I said earlier, it allows for you to fix your mistakes quicker and easier. And because I'm working for various companies doing artwork for them, I cannot spend a lot of time on my artwork. It has to be done quick, and it has to be done well. I have to be able to deliver a finished product that is able to be used for their products. And so if I'm drawing traditionally for something like that, it's going to take me a lot longer because I'm going to be making mistakes with my pen, with my brush. You could get ink blobs on your paper, and you got to fix that up, and you got to scan it in, and then you got to separate the blacks from the paper after you scan it in. There's just a lot more steps involved. It's a lot less efficient when you're working on commercial products to do things traditionally. However, in my personal work, drawing in my sketchbook, of course, I use traditional materials. For some of my Reftune work, that's kind of a side project of mine. I often will pull out a piece of thick paper and do my drawings in pencil and then ink over them with an ink brush. So that's the difference between an ink brush and inking digitally. Which one's better? It really depends on what you're using it for. Neither one is better than the other, but they're just both different. It's a different tool for a different purpose. And that's what I like to think of my pens and my pencils as. I like to think of them as tools. Now, what tool is going to be best for the job? What tool is going to give me the look that I want? So in the end, it's really just about what your project that you're currently working on demands from you. So if I want a more organic look for the finished product of whatever I'm drawing, I'm going to use pencil and paper with a brush pen. if I need clean lines and I need to get it done quickly and get it colored quickly, get it in the hands of my client, then I'm going to use digital. And that's just how it goes. Now they both have different workflows, and you kind of need to just use them often enough to kind of get into the right workflow that works best for you. With traditional inks, you're going to have a lot of bleeding or gobs of ink coming out randomly at different times from your brush. You're gonna have to wait for it to dry before you can erase anything or touch anything up. There's always that risk of smearing your ink and then ruining your image. With digital, you have to learn how to use layers well. And what do you like for finished products? Sometimes you will need to have some of the characters or some of the elements of your illustration separated on different layers so that you can move them around easier for different layouts and things like that. You can't do that with traditional. Once you have it drawn down, it's there for good, unless you're gonna scan it in, separate the blacks, move your elements around however you need them to be, and then color them on the computer, or you can always print it out on another sheet of paper and paint on it. So it really just depends. Which one's better? Neither one. Which one do I prefer? I most prefer the traditional way of illustrating with pencils and inks. But I do most of my work for clients on digital. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for you to just kind of hear the difference between inking digitally and inking traditionally. Again, I certainly, sorry if these are clicking, just kind of, it's like my fidget spinner. But anyways, thank you again for tuning in. I hope this was helpful for you, and but anyway, thank you for tuning in. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know which you prefer. Do you prefer digital inks, or do you prefer traditional inks? Let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear how you use your inks. Do you use traditional and scan it in? Do you do more like gallery style, where you just do a complete finished work on a sheet of paper or canvas or whatever, or do you use digital? And is there a certain way of organizing your layers? I realize that is a very long question for you to answer in the comments, so just let me know which one you prefer. So thanks again for tuning in. Again, I'm Paul Cox. I am an illustrator, and I have a cartoon at reftunes.com. Actually, that's my store, but I post those all on social media. Reftunes stands for Reformation Tunes, and I illustrate quotes from old dead theologians through Reftunes. Check that out, reftunes.com. And my portfolio is at paulcoxillustration.com. You can check that out as well. Thank you, and I will talk to you later.